Mafia, the Old Country trailer makes official the Game Awards debut. Summer 2025, here we come. Following a leak earlier today in which a partial trailer hit the internet, the full trailer for Mafia, the Old Country has debuted at the Game Awards 2024. The trailer shows a litany of explosions, gunshots, and knife fights, all taking place in a fictional city called San Celeste, based on Sicily in the 1900s. San Celeste was previously featured in Mafia 2 and Mafia. The Old Country is a prequel to the first game. The game will feature full audio dubbing tracks in English, French, German, Spanish, Czech, and Russian, as well as Sicilian, to maintain this authenticity. The end of the trailer confirms the summer 2025 release window, along with its platforms, including PS5, PC, and Xbox Series X and S. The game's publisher is once again 2K Games, which also showed off a gameplay trailer for Borderlands 4 at the Game Awards 2024. Mafia: The Old Country is the latest game in the Mafia series, with the last two entries being 2016's Mafia 3 and 2020's Mafia Definitive Edition. Developer Hangar 13 has gone through some turbulence over the past few years, including founder Hayden Blackman stepping down, as well as a round of layoffs in 2022. Do you want to look at the trailer or just go straight to the comments?
We can watch the trailer if you like. I'm locked up like that.
Okay, so let's.
Pretty good trailer. I saw it the other week or so.
All of them.
Yeah.
I get through the Game Awards show actually.
Okay, I didn't watch the Game Awards. Actually,
it's all right. You know, you don't have the Bill Clinton rabbi guy anymore, but you know that was something that was stressing 2 years back.
All right, tell me when you're ready for me to play the trailer.
Let's see here. You play it right now.
Okay.
All of the men in this room are bound by blood. This is a family. And in this family, we follow a code of honor. It is not forgiving. To betray one is to betray all. Do you wish to commit yourself, your life, to this family? I do. To become a man of honor, repeat these words. I swear my loyalty to this family. My flesh must burn like this saint. If I do not keep my oath. Welcome, Enzo.
All right, so
Pretty good trailer.
Yeah, let me pause. Let me stop the trailer, and then I'll check comments. Oh, let me sort them by best. Okay, Batman 90 goes. Looks like it has nothing to do with the Mafia again, like the third game.
No, it does.
Gunny Ninja goes. Looks like you don't know anything about the Mafia.
Yeah.
Joe Collin goes. Interesting. Could be promising. So, how do you feel about Mafia going back to like the early 1900s?
They have to. That's where it all started. I mean, it's a good thing they started right now than like 10, 12 years ago with Mafia 1 and all. So I'm glad that they start with the 1960s, 70s, 50s Mafia and all, and then go back and continue on.
The 1940 was like Mafia 1 and 2. I think Mafia 2 was like the late 40s, early 50s. So Mafia 1 probably was like the early 40s.
Right.
So,
I played Mafia 1
and then Mafia 3 was in the 60s.
Yep, and that's during the time of Black Panther and so on. So they call it back then of the mainstream media and all. So personally, myself, now based on my research in the mafia, that's good going back to the 1920s and 10s because that's where it all started. Because most of the immigrants from the 1860s till like the 1920s, they moved from the famine in Irish and parts of Europe and all, and moved to America through Ellis Island and all, and the Statue of Liberty back during this time here in New York. So I'm glad they're going back that far, try to understand how the mafia started, where it all came from, why the people of these entities did what they did to maintain order and law that the police can't do themselves personally. So, personally, myself, I will admit this. I don't know too much about what happened back the 1920s mafia, 1910s, and earlier. But based on what the people testified from these families, now this may sound crazy, but there's been news reports about this back in the 90s and 2000s of like guys like what's called John Gotti, and the family he served and all. He was the head honcho of one of the mobsters. These five families of New York and all. So, it was a big deal to see what we saw in the news and all about these families, breaking down in their line of work and all. So it's and also I guess when
Yeah.
I start talking more about the mafia detail, it was a bad idea. but in short, basically, it's a prequel to all the mafia games that came out the last 15 years at least. So let's hope they'll end on a good note on this last Mafia game, if it ever going to be the last Mafia game. And that's it.
Okay. Yeah. I wasn't a big fan of Mafia 3. I have to be honest. I wanted to like it because of how much I loved the first two games, but I just couldn't make myself like it. Um, if I ever got myself the trilogy, I would probably play it because it was part of the trilogy. But I've already beaten the second Mafia game, so it's kind of like, do I really want to get a trilogy where one third of it's already completed and one third of the trilogy I'm not sure I'd like, even if I gave it another chance. Um, but yeah, so I mean, as going back to old Sicily of the early 1900s. I have to be honest. I never thought they were going to do that. I thought they were going to go back to I thought they were going to jump ahead to 1970 because Mafia 3 was in the 60s. I thought we were getting Mafia 4 in the 70s with wherever the Mafia was big during the 70s. Um, I say that because someone said, like, I remember in Game Informer when Mafia 3 was being previewed, it said uh, Mafia 3 is taking place in the 60s, so obviously the game is taking place in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So I figure, Mafia 4 would take place wherever the Mafia was doing business in the actual 70s, or at least one of the places they were doing business. And we can still get that down the road. San Celeste, I think that's I think they said it was featured in Mafia 2. I think that's where Vito was when he had to fight for the army. I think that's where the battle took place in the beginning of Mafia 2, if I'm not mistaken. I'm interested to see how this game does. It's gonna be weird though, because like it's gonna be Red Dead Redemption 2 era, so it's gonna be mostly on horseback, or on foot, transportation wise. Um, Guns are probably gonna be like Red Dead Redemption 2 era also. So it's gonna be different. But then again, you can't do the same thing over and over.
And that's something else. It's just the first ever sniper rifle that came out back there in the 1870s and all. So if they could try to like, obviously it's going to take place in what 1900s Sicily, you said, right, James? Triple J.
It's
So it's
1900s, early
so
1900s.
yeah. So the first sniper rifle came out as always like they like 1870s, late 60s. So that'd be nice to put that sniper rifle in there after assassination attempts, stuff like that. That'd be cool to see that. as a gameplay and all. Because that's what they did with not exactly, but it's like to see all the usuals, the killers, the sniping, and Molotov cocktails, stuff like that. You see in how many games so far. But then what's different from this Mafia game is that they reinitiated or enacted what happened back in Sicily, Italy, and then bring that to the United States, and then the five families. So it's going to get that eventually. So
Yeah, so I
hopefully.
mean, if you're a big fan of the Mafia game, Mafia series, this is the next one coming out. Um, and we'll just keep an eye on what happens once it comes out. Do you have anything else to add or ready to move on?
I just want to say though, guys, that I'm sorry we got cut off early. I guess I can't talk too much about it in detail because I already talked about it in our previous Mafia related video footage, or not video, but the episodes we talked about in the past. So you can go back to those episodes and I discuss more about it in detail. So that's all I got to say for the matter. I'm
Okay.
ready to move on.